Entering the wormhole in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Have a nice trip.
What up, y'all? It's your boy, Andy Savage, back with another episode of the Wormhole podcast. Here with me is my co-host, my cohort, my crony, my fellow shithead. Give it up for motherfucking Pancake.
What up, y'all?
What up, bro?
That shit,
Long
man.
time no
Happy
see.
New Year, everybody. Yeah, Happy New Year. Long time no see.
Happy
Not
New
really,
Year,
though.
everybody. Happy 2026. Hopefully this year is better than fucking last year, but who knows, right? Who knows?
Yeah.
Let's start this motherfucking New Year off with a bang, baby. With a motherfucking
Area 420.
The banger.
I made all these motherfucking songs.
What songs? Oh, I didn't hear it.
Yeah, there's a little Area 420 jingle and all that shit.
Cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm a fucking nerd with this shit, man. If everybody can't tell, like, this is like what I enjoy fucking doing. But we got a nice little setup here. We got a nice little fucking podcast planned. You know, I was just showing everybody the motherfucking command center.
That's quality. Yeah. Starting off with quality, man.
Working on it, you know. It's all a work in fucking progress. It's crazy to think.
On my end, he's through this microphone and all that. That's supplied by this guy right here. So
that I mean, if you've seen my original Wormhole setup, well, you were there fucking in 2019, back when we didn't have shit but I had a Chromebook with a fucking cheap USB mic, and I didn't even have a quality laptop back then. And then when we first started the podcast up again, I was just running it straight laptop and a fucking USB mic, and just slowly pieced together this complex here. Well, a little bit more than slowly. Since November, I fucking pieced this together just with working overtime and scamming where I can fucking scam, baby. I get them as hard as I can get them.
Mm-hmm.
As hard as I can get them.
Yeah, you've been in a good position to do that. Yeah. If I had the opportunity, I would as well.
Well,
scam.
Some of it is obviously at my own detriment. Like, certain things I just kind of fuck my credit over for, but
mm-hmm.
all of that's repairable, man. That's the thing, you know, when you have a reset that comes essentially every 7 years, you know, people don't realize how fast 7 years really does go. That shit flies by. I'll fix it. I always do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you know, there's all types of different degrees of scamming and shit. You know, scamming used to be like such a gross thing to do, such an ugly word, but I finally found a perspective to look at it that is really not that bad. And I'm not saying to consider it or nothing, but hear me out. If somebody that you know decided to be a scammer, you know, scam other Americans and stuff, pretend, you know, whatever it is, romance scams and stuff like that, just to get their money. Sure, it's shameful, but right now, people in other countries are the ones who are doing it to Americans and getting all the money and stuff like that. So all this money that's getting scammed out of them
shop local.
It's going to benefit other countries and stuff like that. So if you are a citizen doing it here, you're getting that money instead of people in other countries. So at least, you know, like, you're helping it to some degree, you know.
I can see that.
Just some food for thought. You know, I never thought of it from that perspective, but I think that being a scammer isn't such a ugly idea.
Well, see, I also like to look at it objectively, as in, I personally am like on the Robin Hood aspect of it, whereas like I don't feel that it's as bad scamming companies as it is scamming people. You know, like if for instance, if somebody steals supplies from work, it wouldn't bat an eye. But if that somebody went inside somebody's coat in the break room and stole something personal from another employee, they're a piece of shit. Right or wrong. Like you're thieving from somebody in the same spot as you. When you're thieving from $1
It's more
million,
concentrated.
if you're thieving
It's
from
the
a
same
million,
act.
yeah, it's still
It's the
theft,
same
right?
act,
Right.
but it's more concentrated when you steal that keys out of somebody's pocket or their phone or something like that.
That's like
'Cause when you do steal from work, you are stealing fractions of a penny
Sure.
out of shareholders' pockets,
or
but
even
it's so
like
spread out. It's like, what's the big deal? You're not changing the way they live their life or anything.
Like if you steal a steak from the grocery store, right? Or if you go inside of my house and steal a steak out of my freezer, obviously I'd be more pissed off if you went inside my house and stole the steak out of my freezer than I would be about you stealing the steak from the store. But
Yeah, and a lot of that food at the grocery store gets thrown away when it isn't sold too. So it's just like there's really no loss there.
I'm doing you a favor.
I'm telling you, in a lot of ways, you can see theft as doing people a favor.
Yeah, I mean, none of my stuff is stolen. We'll say that.
Mm-hmm.
I've not stolen a fucking single. Most of the shit I paid for, but certain like my PC and shit I financed. I just haven't paid on it.
I may have stolen once since Napster. Like a real theft.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been
allegedly.
It has to have been at least a decade.
Allegedly.
Definitely. Now that I think about it, definitely over a decade since I've stole something.
Trying to think. Last time I stole something.
And I mean like from the store or something, or from somebody's house.
Last time I stole anything from a store, it was funny. It was like right when I first met my wife. And she had never, ever, ever been around anybody to do something like that. And she had no idea. I was so good back then. I was a fucking little klepto as a teenager. But not from, like, not so much from people, but, from stores and shit. I mean, I was a fucking runaway teen that, that's how I survived. So I fucking got good at that shit. But, funny story, the video game Destiny had first came out. This was 2015, maybe. So yeah, it's like 10 years ago, over 10 years ago at this point, 11 years ago. We were at Target, allegedly picking up a gift that we got from my stepmom. And while we were picking it up, like in front of the register, like literally right by where you would put your card at, like at the card reader, was a brand new copy of the Destiny game. And they had already taken it out of the case and everything. And it was just sitting there.
This sort of chickened out.
I don't know. I don't know if somebody chickened out or if they were purchasing it and then decided against it. And it was like halfway through. But I was like, oh, they already took it out of the like the magnetic seal and all that shit.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like,
easy cuff.
I stood there and I literally just went and I just pushed it right into my fucking bag. I got home and I fucking started installing it on my PlayStation. And Myra's like, where'd you get that? I was like, I got it from Target. She's like, oh, I didn't know you got a game. I was like, yep. And I told her, I was like, I've never lied to my wife once. And I told her how I got it. And she's like, you are unbelievable. I can't believe you just did that. I was like,
I'm sure that is shy. An act like that shocks a lot of people who haven't ever been around it or haven't ever done it. But
I was so slick and good at it that like she instantly had there was a hint of shock, but also like a hint of admiration. I was like, this motherfucker is good. Like I was standing right next to him. The lady was talking to us. Like, how are you able to do that in fucking line of sight? And I was like, bro, yeah. I was like, man, fucking kids get good. And I was like, I remember I was able to like at one time, the move was be like you could like be reaching in the candy aisle, and I'm literally just shoving things into my sleeve. Well, it looks like I'm just shuffling through it. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying?
Hmm. You really just need to understand like body language and shit and how to
Yep.
like not to get the attention of security. As long as they're not watching you,
Yeah.
they're not gonna catch any of that
Yeah,
shit.
because there's not
It
like a
can be
dedicated.
caught on cameras, but as long as somebody's like, looking at that camera watching you, you get their attention in certain ways, and then they'll freaking pinpoint you. They'll follow you all around the store through the cameras and shit. But as long as you don't get their attention, yeah, you can get fucking anything, man. Like my thing used to be when I was in my 20s is I'd go to Walmart. Anything that I felt was overpriced, I don't want to pay that, but I want it. Take it going into the fucking lawn and garden area and throw it over the fucking fence. Leave the store, going next to the fucking store in the car, pick it up at the fucking side of the fence. Boom. I never once got caught fucking doing it or nothing.
That's
And
so funny.
no, so like my girlfriend at the time, we lived together and all that. We're doing the, playing house and all that. And she would encourage it, man. She was a bad influence. And I think it was because, I had gotten away with it for so long. She developed that very same kind of,
Admiration.
false illusion, of fucking, that you're safe, that you're never going to get caught. Everybody fucking gets caught eventually.
Yeah.
I
Right.
stopped before I
Right.
got caught. I didn't. But, if I carried that type of mentality throughout my entire life, I definitely would have been busted by now, definitely, and had to go through the shame of all that.
I think I got caught maybe 3 out of 300 times.
As a
And
kid, I was wild with
and
it,
of
yeah.
the 3 times I got caught as a kid, only one of the time did it turn into like anything where it like police and shit.
Mm-hmm.
And that was one time I stole a fucking shirt from J.C. Penney when I was like 13, and I got busted. I didn't have like no criminal charges and shit, but the cops were called and all that shit, and my parents had to come get me fucking from the police, and and then
Yeah, I was fortunate enough to never get busted for theft.
that turned
It was
into
always like the trespassing and
oh,
vandalism and stuff that we were getting busted for all the damn time. But it was the same thing. It was like we get caught 1 out of 100 times that we do something illegal. Got
my
away with a lot.
my biggest claim to fame to this day. I still feel a slight surge of adrenaline when I think back on this memory. Um, this is when I was living in Chicago. I was at a DSW shoe warehouse, and I was or no, it wasn't DSW. It was across the street from DSW. It was at Dick's Sporting Goods, and I had just stolen a pair of the new Iversons. Remember the Reebok Iversons, the Allen Iversons?
I was never followed shoes like that.
Oh yeah, buddy. Fucking brand new i3s came out. I had them motherfuckers. I put them on my feet. I swear to God, them bitches gave me wings because I put them on my feet. I left my old shoes there at the store. I walked out of that bitch. Security was on my fucking ass, boy. But when I said that them shoes gave me wings, and my claim to fame at the time. Now I was a teenager. I was a teenager doing all this shit. Like pre 17 years old. So at the time, I think maybe I was maybe 15 or 16 years old. Um, when I was about that age, I was 6'2", 180 pounds. I was in pretty decent shape. I wasn't like built or nothing like that. I was just thin and fucking ready to do drugs, baby. But the security guard was probably maybe early 20s, very fit African American gentleman, and I put the motherfucking work to this boy. I'm talking about he chased me for blocks, and this was in the city, right? Blocks he was trying to chase me. But
Damn.
I felt like a fucking king. These shoes had me. It was like I had double jump. You know what I'm saying? Like I remember I jumped over this fence of like there was in the city there's always like construction areas on like they're building up more buildings and shit like that, or working on the faces of apartment like buildings, because everything's so close together. Something's always under construction. And
Mm-hmm.
there was a little construction site, and I hopped this fence in a way that I've never hopped a fence before. Like, I literally felt the momentum. You know what I mean? Like, where you feel like I could have took steps in midair. You know what I'm saying? Like, the
Yeah.
whole world was slowed down at this moment, and I literally I got away. I got away, and I was so quick, and I just couldn't believe myself. To this, I feel like that was my like NFL draft moment. Like, I could have got into the fucking major leagues, baby.
Yeah,
Uh,
that was your most supreme moment.
yeah, supreme
Yeah.
moment of athleticism that was purely adrenaline based. It
Hmm.
wasn't because
Dude,
I.
running from the police and
Oh
running
yeah,
from
oh yeah,
security and shit like that, honestly, like, yeah, as an adult, it's immature to say, but it is the most fun fucking thing to do, man.
oh
It's so fun to have adrenaline running and to like have that fleet going on.
yeah.
Just I gotta get away,
Well,
gotta
we're
get
too
away.
old. We're too old to do that shit now. Like, my body's too broke up. I can't perform athletically at the level that I could have back then. You know.
What's wild, man, is I still can. I totally like maybe I can't jump as high as like I did in my 20s and shit like that, but a lot of the things that I could
But
do when I
but
was
but
younger, I can still do.
but do you have the stamina that you had back then? Like the
I
wind,
don't recall
the
really
wind.
having much of a stamina, but I must have because every day I was just out skateboarding and shit. So I'm sure my stamina
Yeah,
was
because you weren't like a
way above what it
runner.
is now.
You weren't
No,
like a runner.
no, but skateboarding still
Oh yeah,
fucking
oh
dude,
yeah.
exhausting. Dude, fucking think about riding a bike versus skateboarding. It's just like going up a hill. Fuck, dude.
I'll never
Like,
forget. I think I was maybe like 19 or 20 years old, and that's not too far off of our teens. You know what I mean? Like that was only 5 or 6 years older than when we were kids. You know,
mm-hmm.
but I remember 19, 20 years old. I found a pair of fruit boots at a friend's house that were my size, and I put them rollerblades on, and I tried fucking rollerblading down the street, bro, and my legs hurt so fucking bad because I was using all the muscles that I haven't used. And at the time, like, literally, this was like 19, 20 years old. Imagine now if I were to put them bitches on, like,
It would hurt,
I'd be
yeah.
dead. I would be dead.
And I'll tell you that, like, even as an athletic person that exercises his legs regularly and all that stuff, I went roller skating with a friend one day, and the next day, holy shit, man, my like inner thighs were burning, because like I may be walking all the time and running and climbing and all that stuff, but there's particular muscles that I'm not using when I'm doing those things.
Right, your
It's when
stabilizers.
you're roller skating and shit, like you're pushing your legs outward. You don't do
Yep.
that with fucking anything else, like you're using muscles that you don't usually use.
I can always tell because I got a bad back, so and you have the same back issues. I think we have it in a similar spot even. Uh,
Yeah.
when 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 winter happens and it gets a little bit slippery outside, I can always tell I walk different because like I'm walking more cautiously and I'm walking much more stabilized because I don't want to tweak my back. And I'll notice because like you'll have a little bit of soreness and weird spots in your leg when winter first happens because you're walking just a little bit differently outside.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
if you did a lot of walking outside that day or that first week of winter, I can always tell.
Yeah. I hear you on that.
But podcast wise, something that I always wanted to get into on the pod that we haven't really touched too much on, is something that we both specialize in, and that's the motherfucking paranormal, baby. We have not talked about ghosts really this whole thing, besides just a brief mention. And I really want to talk about like what brought us into being interested in doing a podcast like the Wormhole podcast, where we do talk about um, extraterrestrial. We talk a lot of shit, also because why? This is our podcast. This is for this is for us to share our thoughts to you. You know, sometimes my thoughts are not always uh in outer fucking space. Sometimes they are here in what we're talking about in our day-to-day lives because that's what we handle in our day-to-day lives. But
Yeah.
um I do want to stay on topic a little bit and give you guys the treat of the wormhole and our articulate um opinions on these strange and mysterious subjects. So, without further ado, I'd like to get into the supernatural. And I wanted to start that off with my first supernatural experience that really kind of got me thinking that there might be more to this than just what we can see. Um, the first one being, um, I think I was 6 or 7 years old. No, it would be 5 or 6 years old. I was about almost 7 years old when my parents divorced. Um, I was 6 years old, turning 7, and so this was prior to that. So I was about 4 or 5 years old then. Um, I'd have to say five because I remember it vividly. So you know, five. We'll just go with 5 years old. So that would put this in 1993, right when we first bought my dad's house in Joliet. And my dad's house was built in the early 1900s, like pre 1910. Um, and the house was heavily, heavily fucking haunted at first. We found all this out later. Like it ended up being so haunted that like my dad had the priest from the church come in and like bless the house and everything. And I think that worked because nothing else crazy happened after that. But when we first moved in, a whole bunch of crazy shit happened. The crazy, like my dad had experiences, my mom had experiences, but the craziest experience we all shared um, was me and my dad just sat down in the living room to eat dinner. We're a couch eater family. We ate at the living room table. We didn't have a big dining room table or anything like that. So yeah, we were eating at the living room table, and my mom was walking in uh, from the kitchen, and there was like a doorway, but with no door. So she was walking through the doorway, and as she was walking through, a plate flew at the wall behind her and like shattered. And that right there was fucking crazy. Like obviously a spirit or somehow a plate flew from the cabinet into the wall across the room and shattered right behind my mom with nobody in the room. You tell me. This is a ghost, bro. you know. It's
Yeah,
a
you go
it's
through
a it's
all
a,
the
it,
things in your mind,
it's
like
a
what could have
spiritual
caused that, and when you come up with nothing,
uh,
where else are you gonna go?
either that or it was
Paranormal.
an invisible man, maybe it was
That would be paranormal too.
the invisible alien. It's it's something.
Paranormal.
Plates don't have wings,
But it
so
definitely wasn't somebody, because
yeah,
there
it
was
wasn't
some
somebody.
not somebody
There
here.
was nobody there, and it scared all of us to the point where we were all just sitting in the living room like, what the fuck? And yeah, there was a bunch of other stuff. I guess there was like a lot of activity in our basement, but our basement, that house is crazy, dude. That house had in the backyard there was like a hatch that went down, and I guess it was like there was a whole tunnel system that took you all the way to the family's mausoleum at
Hmm?
the cemetery that was like 2 blocks away.
Cool.
But they collapsed the tunnel like on
Hmm.
the inside, so it like literally just went until the collapsed area. But it like you could go down the stairs and see a little bit of like a tunnel entranceway and shit. And
Crazy.
we ended up collapsing that the rest of the way. But in the back of the house, there was like they said it was like a servant house, but yeah, it was like a slave house essentially.
Hmm.
Um, I don't know if it was slaves, but that's always what we said it was. Like that's what I thought.
Servants or
As a kid,
something.
yeah, it was a servant house. but it was just like essentially like a concrete block room that was like an outdoor shed, but not a shed. It was like built up like a nice area, but there was no walls inside of it. It was just insulated outer walls, no like separating walls into different rooms or nothing like that. And then next to that, there was another like house shed area thing um, that had like chains where you could hang up like animals to like slaughter them and fucking. My dad had a deer he fucking killed in there and shit. So like that was the murder room. So as a kid, like all of these things are fucking frightening. You know what I mean? Like as an adult, you're just like walk into it and see a shed and shit, and you're like, oh, cool. But like as a kid, all these things were fucking ominous. The slave room and all these things we ended up like tearing down because they were like falling apart and old as fuck. Because we bought everything was fucking 90 years old essentially when we bought it, so it was all falling down. All those little houses in the back were falling down. I remember when we pulled it down, they literally just like put chains around all this shit, and my dad's buddy pulled it with a fucking truck. Them hillbillies were out there fucking just pulling these houses down by fucking chain and truck.
Wow.
And then burning it all. I remember
That's
this.
pretty. It's pretty badass.
Yeah, the city would come constantly because my dad would make big ass burn piles and just light shit on fire, and then the fire trucks would come and be like, "You can't fucking do that shit. Like, this is the middle of town, dude.
Yeah.
Such a hillbilly."
So it reminds me of Tony, just like not understanding.
Dude,
that
honestly,
you can't do that. It's like, oh, why?
dude,
Just do
Tony,
it like, oh, you're having an idea and doing it without thinking of consequences or anything.
Tony fucking loves the way my dad was. So like, I feel like Tony would have had a blast having my dad as a dad. They would have boxed. They would have fucking they would have definitely boxed, but they would have fucking just been two ratchet motherfuckers together.
Yeah, they probably would have.
They would have had they would have butted heads, but they would have been the best of fucking friends too. You know what I'm saying? They would have both
Or has some kind of crazy ass horde going on all around the fucking.
Well, my
house.
dad was a huge cokehead, so it wouldn't have been that hard to get him on the meth.
The ice.
They'd be up in the fucking ice studio upstairs.
No, I guarantee that it was just with people who do coke. If coke wasn't around and meth was, they'd be meth heads.
Oh yeah, yeah, that's crazy. Okay, yeah, because like meth, I'm not super versed in it, but it's like a coke high, right? But just way more and fucking tense, and it lasts way longer. It's still a geek high, like you're still geeked. You're not like fucking hallucinating or nothing. Like I'm pretty sure meth is just a geek. You're super geeked. I think you start hallucinating because of the lack of sleep, because you'll be high for too long and you don't sleep, and then you start seeing shadow people because you've been up for 3 fucking days,
And you can be so overactive in your imagination and shit, you start getting paranoid and thinking things are happening that really aren't, like in a way that's kind of hallucinating.
Yeah, I mean,
but that's all in your head, it's just because you're overthinking shit, and probably also on top of it, the sleep deprivation.
When I was a kid, like a young kid, I don't think sleep deprivation ever existed because I slept pretty good. But as a teenager, like when I was away from home, like I didn't always have somewhere to sleep. So like some nights, rather if it was like shitty out, I would just stay awake. Just stay somewhere and just stay awake and just wait until fucking the weather got better. You got somewhere to go in the morning. But so like maximum, I would stay awake maybe at most close to 48 hours. But that was like the longest. Now, I mean, as a dad, I've done 24 hours constantly. Like not often, but a lot. A lot. I do 24 hours at least once a month. Once every 2 months. You know, I'll do at least 24 hours a week. But even then, I'm fucking dead tired. I'm ready to fucking die. Ready to pass
Yeah.
out. Like, I couldn't imagine 72 hours of a week. That's fucking crazy.
Mm-mm.
That's that's
I know
crazy.
for a fact never in my life if I hit numbers like that. It's fucking crazy. I know I've hit 24 before.
Yeah, 24 is not that hard to do.
Going to sleep later than I woke up, but the next day,
Yeah,
I've
so
done that.
what fucks me usually and that makes me do the 24s more often than not is because I work nights, and um if I'm off during the daytime, I will go to bed like a normal person with the rest of the family. So like
Mhm.
I'll go to bed at 11 o'clock. I wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning, and then I'm fucked because I go to work at 6 o'clock in the afternoon. So if I or in the evening. So if I don't
I
take
got to
any
be up a whole
naps during the
12
day,
hours before work. Yeah.
right, and then I'm up for a 10.5 hour shift afterwards, and then fucking by the time you actually go to bed, 24 hours it already had.
Fuck. Yeah, I couldn't live like that. But like you say, it only happens every once in a while where you got to pull 24 hours and shit. There's definitely parents out there who do that shit all the fucking time.
Yeah, I
Pull 48
the more
hours
the
and
more
shit
I
like
think
that.
of the more I think about it and analyze it, I think I do it probably at least once a week.
Mm.
Yeah, because I do that literally every time I have a day off usually. So that's at least once
Oh
a
yeah,
week.
just sacrifice sleep for your own time.
Yeah, pretty much. It's always like
I think I would do the same too if I had to scrounge for free time and shit like that. I'd sacrifice sleep.
yeah, like getting home from work. It always ends up because I get off at work at 5 a.m. So everybody in the house is sleeping. I can't go make too much noise, so I may as well just get home and go to fucking bed.
Yeah,
And
that's what. Yeah,
I get
that's
home,
what
I'll
it.
turn the TV on low. I'll fucking smoke a few bowls in the living room, and then fucking start getting droopy, and then I'll go to the fucking bedroom, knock out for as long as I can sleep for, and then
Mhm.
5 6 hours usually. Fuck it.
So back to the paranormal.
Paranormal, baby. Yeah. So that obviously was the first experience, um, and then after that, I'd say I was 13. I was staying over at my buddy's house, and my buddy had just bought um, the same graveyard. Funny enough, that the mausoleum was that my house went to. My buddy, his family bought the house that was like, I don't know if it was the gravekeeper's house, but that's always what we always told each other. It was the gravekeeper's house because it was a house that was built on the graveyard's property. But
Groundskeepers.
the
Yeah.
fence of the graveyard went around the house's property. You know what I mean? So it wasn't like in the graveyard, but it was like literally right next to it.
Right outside. Yeah.
And they had bought that house. They originally lived like 3 houses down, but they ended up like selling that house and getting a good deal. Who knows what the fuck his parents did, you know? But they got the gravekeeper's house, and we were out there one afternoon. Um, it was right as like the sun was getting ready to start setting, so like it was starting to get dark, and we were all sitting like we had like this little tire fort built out of some old fucking semi truck tires and shit. And we're all fucking hillbillies, and yeah, we're in this tire fort, and we were just like kind of looking at where the graveyard was, and so it's not far. It's literally like the walkway for the graveyard is maybe 20 feet in front of us, 30 feet, and we see like the only way I can describe it is a walking shadow. Like you could see right through it. It was pitch black like a shadow, like something was casting a shadow, but it was literally just like walking down the trail, and it scared the fuck out of us. And we were all like teenage boys, so like you're trying to act tough and shit with your boys, saying cuss words to look cool and shit, like smoking cigarettes and not inhaling and shit. You know, we were fucking cool ass dudes, bro. And
Hmm.
yeah, no, like we were all fucking scared. We all like looked at each other, looked at that shit again, and ran inside of the fucking house. And yeah, that was fucking crazy. And then, you know, since then I've had tons of stuff. But what about you?
Um, as a kid, nothing. You know, like I was as a teenager growing up, just like with the same mindset of people that ghosts aren't real and
Sure.
all that stuff because I never had any experiences for myself. And when you have not had any experiences, to hear other people's ghost experiences, they sound like nuts. You know, you immediately, you know, that's all in your head. It's crazy. Um, my middle brother, he was a little, you know, uh, he believed in all that stuff ghosts. He had his own experiences and shit, and he'd tell me. Um, so there was one experience, you know, it wasn't my experience, but I was, you know, around it when it happened. You know, my brother, he acquired off the side of the road a plaque. It was a wooden plaque that had a pig's. It was like a pig's head or something like that. Found it on the side of the road, brought it into the house, and he started to say that after he brought it in, you know, he started to have bad dreams. And if I can't remember exactly, but he may have also had things happen in the room as well. Um, but then one day we had one of my parents' friends visited the house, and he seen it on the wall, and he said, "Where did you get that?" You know, like just like out of nowhere, like took us all by surprise. Just his reaction to, he's like, "Where did you get that?" And my brother's like, you know, like I found it. He said, and he got his face. He said, "Get rid of that fucking thing. That thing is evil." And then he told his story that he acquired it. I don't remember exactly how, but he had it in his house, and things started to happen. So he decided to destroy it. He burned it, and this was before my brother acquired it. And this was like a hand carved. This was definitely not a mass produced product. I remember it exactly. It was like hand carved fucking pig head. So it had to have been the exact same one that, you know, that he recognized.
He burned it.
He said he burned it. Yeah. That it was gone,
That's
completely
crazy.
gone. And yeah, then my brother came across it. So that was one thing that happened near me. But, you know, at the same time, like, coincidence, you know, brushing it off. I never seen or felt anything. But before my parents moved out of that house, I can't remember exactly if the plaque was still there. I think my brother did get rid of it, but it was in that room. And I had a moment of, I stayed in that room one night. I can't remember why, but I decided to sleep in that room and not mine. And I had the first and only moment in my life of sleep paralysis. You know, when you wake up and you feel like you're being held down, you can't move a muscle or anything like that. You feel like something's like physically, like there's a weight on top of you. But it's a clinic. It actually is like a scientifically clinical fucking thing. It's called sleep paralysis.
Yeah,
But it
I
was
I
the
had
only time it's ever happened. I mean, it was in that room.
so this is funny that you say that and a little strange. But uh man, I don't know if I'm having the experience or that maybe you told me that before when we were really young, but you're talking about the room that was like by the room that your dad made for Tony later, right?
No, no,
No? Oh,
mm-mm, mm-mm. No. It was the not the last room on the right at the end of the hall. The room right before it. So you
oh yeah,
know,
yeah, yeah,
if
yeah.
you're going down the hallway of the house, you know, you got the bathroom on the
Yeah, yeah,
left,
yeah,
and then you
yeah.
got my parents' room
Yeah,
on
yeah,
the
yeah.
right. You got two bedrooms. It was the first one.
Oh, okay. That turned into your room, didn't it?
I can't even remember
Yeah.
whose room was what when
Yeah,
we were
yeah, yeah, yeah.
always
Yeah, moving
swapping and
around and shit.
switching and shit. Yeah, as we got older, you know, the way that they felt, okay, this person needs their own room, that person needs their own room.
Yeah, I had sleep paralysis happen a lot when I was younger, and I feel like one of the times I spent the night, I had sleep paralysis, but it was in the other room, the one by like the laundry that your dad had made, like that smaller room.
And there is a great chance that around that time that plaque was in the house at that time. There is a chance of that.
I didn't have like any. I didn't see like no entities or spirits or nothing. But like I would just like I feel like I would like wake up and I can't move and I'd be like like I'm trying to scream and there's like
Oh
no
yeah, yeah,
sound
yeah, yeah.
coming out and shit. Like
That
I would
one
get
time that it happened, I couldn't make a sound. I couldn't move. It felt like something was like physically. I was awake though. I'm like looking around. I didn't see any shadows or anything like
yeah.
that,
There's
but I
nothing
felt like
scaring
something
me,
was
but
like
I'm like
stopping me. I could just like the only thing I could move was my eyes. Yeah, it's crazy, but it happens to people. Anyway, so my first actual paranormal experience. I believe I've felt like off energies and stuff, like before an actual experience and stuff. There was the one time I lived in Aurora and we knew of two abandoned buildings and we decided, hey, we're going to be urban explorers, we're going to live stream and stuff like that. We're going to go in these buildings, told a whole bunch of people and all that stuff. And the first building that we did two buildings consecutively in one day. The first building was a Masonic temple. The whole time we were in there, I didn't have the willies. I didn't get a bad feeling or anything like that. I just felt like, no haunted, no nothing like that. But then later after that, we decided to go to an abandoned hospital. And the moment we went in that place and throughout the entirety of the visit, there was like this weight, like this feeling that makes all the hairs on you like stand up on end and stuff like that. That I found very particular because it was the same day. We were in the very same mindset. We just left a building that didn't make us feel anything. If anything, we should be going into this next one with even more courage, not getting the willies and shit like that. But
sure.
no, man, that place straight up, right off the bat, willies 100%. And my first actual experience with the paranormal that undeniable, can't say it was anything else, happened in that building. And that was after many explorations of that building. We had been throughout it. I had by that time probably been in it like maybe 15, 20 times. But one night while we were in there, the police came and we were all up on the roof. And throughout the confusion of all of it, we got away and all that. But the next day I realized, oh, I forgot my fucking vape in there, expensive rig and all that shit. Not one of those disposable boys that we got now. So I'm like, fuck it. It's the daytime, like I know the layout of the building. I was comfortable just by myself during the day going in there and getting my vape. And while I was up on the roof, I retrieved my vape. I found it really quickly. Didn't feel uncomfortable or anything like that. Didn't run into anybody. But while I was up there, I seen like this one area of like, it was like the top floor of the building, but it was only like one room. It was just like the whole building. You have the entirety of the building, then they plopped one room on top of the building. So that was like the highest floor, but it was one area. So I was like, I wonder how to get in there. You couldn't see through any windows from the outside or anything like that. So I went down a corridor, flight of stairs. I'm trying to remember, okay, where is that? Looking down a corridor and like, oh, maybe there's some stairs like halfway down this corridor or something on left. And there was. But as I started to approach that doorway of the corridor that went upstairs, I'm hearing all this like banging and like things like breaking and like falling down and stuff like that. I'm getting closer and I'm starting to hear like, it's coming from this, wherever the stairwell leads to, upwards into this little room. So I'm slowly getting closer and closer, and I want to hear like somebody say something or hear breath or something like that, so that way I can say it's a person,
right.
And I get into the stairwell. I can see up around the staircase that it goes into that area. I was like, okay, so I'm slowly being as quiet as I can, listening really hard for some like words or something. And as I'm going up these stairs, I stepped on some glass and it made like a pretty loud sound. So I stopped completely and all the noise and everything above me had stopped. And I'm like, listening for breath because it sounded like somebody was really at work, making a lot of noise, breaking. So you would think they'd be out of breath or something.
Right.
and I'm not hearing anything. This is complete silence. And all of a sudden I start to hear footsteps and glass like coming towards the stairwell in that room. I was like, fuck. And I booked it. I booked it down the fucking stairs all the way to the bottom area. I found my way out of the building. And I was in this courtyard area. This was a massive freaking hospital in the past. And it had a courtyard that was all open, surrounded by the building. And I brought my binoculars. I'm just looking in all the windows and everything like that. I'm comfortable in this position because I'm outside, you know, and I'm looking in all the windows. And so I just want to see somebody, you know, have some explanation as to what I just heard and stuff like that. Nothing. And it was the first time in that building that I was completely fucking freaked out, because the only way out at this point is to go back in the fucking building. So, and I'm by myself and freaked out. So I had called one of my friends. I was like, hey, you know, like, I'm here by myself, and like, I just need somebody on the outside so like I can see somebody, you know, when I get out of here. I have like, so she came to pick me up, and I'm like, okay, fine. I darted through the building. One of the first rooms that you have to go through is like some incinerator room. It may have been where they cremated bodies, I don't know, but it had an incinerator in it. So that was like one of the creepiest rooms to go through. Bolted through the building, got out of there, sat in the passenger seat, left, no problems or anything. But yeah, that was like, can't explain it. Can't fuck. Oh yeah. And then in the future, I went in there again and found that stairwell, went up into the room. Nothing was happening or anything this time. Went up there, and it was completely fucking empty. There was no cabinets, no furniture, no big objects or anything like that that could have been, you know, fucking been smashed around or anything. Completely fucking gutted, just like most of the rooms in the hospital. There was nothing left over, no furniture or anything. They completely gutted of all objects. So yeah, that was like what I consider my first actual, just you can't refute it, you can't debate, like what can you say that possibly was. Like, I was in it.
yeah, for sure.
And I went through most of my life as a skeptic, you know, and I still am. I'm a skeptic to a lot of things, you know, a lot of like ghost hunting techniques and stuff like that. Like a lot of things that are taken as data of the paranormal, I don't feel really are. But undeniably, paranormal is a thing. It's just something that we don't understand. We may never understand. Who knows?
Yeah.
Everybody's got their theories, you know. I've never liked the theory that it's like the afterlife, like people who have died still keeping their conscious minds and coming back to visit us, to haunt, and to do these things.
So I didn't feel that way until I moved into the Vincus mansion. When my dad was with Tammy, with Wally's daughter, and we were staying at Wally's house, and that house irrefutably haunted as fuck. And now, if you listen, my dad was crazy and senile at that point, and so was his old lady. You know, they both fucking just fed off each other's bullshit, and I feel like they would just co-sign each other's nonsense. But you know, I was not a co-signer. I have a skeptic brain. I'm not gonna just believe someone's bullshit just because they said it. You know, I judge every experience based off of what I actually had. And that house, it gave me willies off jump. Certain rooms, like the basement, always gave me fucking willies, because that was like, it was all mirrored. Everything down there was mirrored, and it was all just like an old workout. Like, you know, he was rich, so it was a big ass workout room, but all the equipment was super old and like from the 70s and 80s and shit. And
yeah.
You know,
Wally Vincus.
There was like a big ass sauna room that didn't work down there. And nothing worked. You know, like the sauna didn't work, the hot tubs didn't work. None of the cool shit there worked. It was all like needed parts that don't exist no more and shit, you know?
Yeah, just to clarify for listeners, is I feel this is the most interesting part. He's talking about a mansion that was built and owned by far the most richest man in the town of Romeoville.
And he was rich off of fucking drug, and he owned the biggest strip club in town.
He owned the strip club in town, yep, which was a big old hit. People from all around would come to the, what was it?
Crazy Rock.
Crazy Rock, yeah. And
Yeah.
I'm sure he had dealings with drugs and stuff
Oh,
like
yeah.
that too because of that. You know, he tried to open his own storage company, Wally World or All World or something like that.
Yep.
It just never.
It opened. It's still there.
It's a storage facility?
It's huge. It's still there. That opened.
Oh shit.
The Wally where he was trying to build right next to his the storage
club,
unit
yeah, right.
became before it was a storage facility. It was going to be an amusement park. He was building
Okay,
an
that's what
amusement
it
park,
was,
but it
yeah.
was too close to the strip club because it was literally across the street from the strip club. And
wasn't it next to it, like almost like looked like it was
yes,
part of the building? Yeah,
the
it
property
was all
was,
pretty much the same fucking shit.
and the
Yeah.
city was like, it was going and it was happening, and the city was
Dude,
like,
they put up
yeah,
signs and shit. I remember
the
it said
city's like,
Wally World, and then
no,
people
it's
tore
too
down letters and
close.
just ended up being All World or something.
Yep. And then they changed it to All World Storage. And then they built a big ass storage facility in that property instead. And that's still there to this day.
Okay, that's the story. That's the story.
Yep.
It's so easy to get the facts mixed up.
The only reason I know is because I lived it. And
I definitely heard it accurately before in the past. It's just been a long time.
So yeah, this guy is notorious for having shady dealings in town. The moment he died, they were able to tear the strip club down because like he greased the pockets of the right people, but there were so many zoning violations technically that that instantly, yeah, they tore it down. And as soon as the pockets weren't greased anymore, you know.
So when Wally died,
yes, sir.
wasn't the place like abandoned and people went through it and tagged it up and shit like that, like before you guys moved in?
It wasn't abandoned. It wasn't abandoned. It's just that no one lived there. So like the family still owned it and everything, but nobody was living there at the time.
And people were breaking in.
Were breaking in, but some of the people that were breaking in was literally fucking Tammy and her drugged out friends. And it is crazy because she had like she blew over that was one of the reasons why she didn't get everything of her dad's, like, and the estate fought her for it, is because she blew over like $1.5 million on coke back then, and like, yeah, went crazy, dude. Like, they were millionaires and she like blew millions of dollars on coke and fucking partying and shit like that. She was the Paris Hilton, bro, of Romeoville.
Could you imagine how that feels? Like, I understand why people do that kind of shit. You know, like if you come to the party with coke, like there's gonna be people there who like you're gonna be like their king. You know,
right? Yeah, you are their king.
Yeah, like you.
And you're rich. You're the only one
the
rich in town
party.
in a blue collar town.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and you're fucking rich with strip club money. So like,
I see the appeal of that lifestyle that they chose. But yeah, she went through all that fucking money, man.
White trash millionaires, baby. They fucking they partied. But yeah. So this house, there are a lot of shady dealings. Fucking strippers OD'd and died in the house. This is all real stories, real shit. It sounds crazy, it sounds unbelievable because we live normal lives. But dude,
right?
At least 3 strippers died in the house. Wally's wife died in the house. Wally's grandmother died in the house. Wally died in the house. I think there was like a security. If I remember the story correctly, I do believe there was a security guard that got injured and passed away from his injuries at the house because they ran him to the house while they were waiting for like EMS and all that shit.
Mm-hmm.
Just to like get it out of the strip club, because I think it was like a fight that turned into something and it got ugly and whatever. But because drugs were involved, that's why instantly we don't want cops there right away. So things turned into something else, and whatever the story may be, a lot of shady shit happened there, right? So if you were to think that spirits happen because of terrible deaths and shit, this is a fucking breeding ground for that kind of fucking energy, man.
Yeah, that I do believe. That I do
And
believe.
that basement gave me the willies off jump. I never felt anything, but you know, like how people talk about, like, you feel the cold presence and the goosebumps and your
Mm-hmm,
hair's
mm-hmm.
standing up
Yeah.
constantly, bro. And like, I would constantly feel drafts when there's no fucking airflow. Like, I'd feel like a cold wind like pass through me. Like, that shit happened all the time. But what really blew me, and that was just irrefutable, is upstairs. Wally had his own bathroom, and his bathroom had a urinal built into it. And I was like, how fucking baller is that? He built a urinal in his shit so he can just fucking rock a piss real fast and
Yeah.
then head back. But nobody really used that bathroom because, like, the sentimental values of it, because, you know, that was his bathroom and shit. But they were like, yeah, and then these two bozos, my dad and his old lady, you know, they're always fucking drunk and drugged out, so it's hard to believe when they would tell me stories. But they were like, oh yeah, he uses it still, and I'm like, oh yeah, I bet he fucking does, right? Then we're all sitting on the couch and shit, and fucking yeah, we're sitting on the couch watching TV. The bathroom light turns on, the fucking urinal flushes, the bathroom light turns back off. And they're like, oh yeah, it's just Wally using the bathroom. And I'm like, wait, what the fuck? You were telling the truth? And I was like, what the? How are you just fucking sitting here like that's normal? And I'm like, that's crazy. That's fucking crazy. And that was like where I finally started thinking, like, hey, maybe it is like some sort of residual energy, or like it is that person. It has to be that person, because like
See,
patterns like that seem nuts to me, because it's obviously the one person that would do
who
this
did
and
that
use it.
exact routine? Yeah, yeah. So
That-
I believe, like how you said, residual energy. That I do believe. I think that it's energy that's left behind from the person who, when they were alive. I don't think it's them coming back from the dead and consciously doing these things. I think that, you know, to turn a doorknob, it takes so much energy. To turn on a light, it takes so much energy and stuff like that. And if you're doing it over and over and over again, you end up like stamping these motions, this energy into time.
Sure.
So that, like, even though you stop doing it, that memory is left, like is if life, everything around us is like a tape recorder. You know, it comes by and it does it again. You know, even though the person's not physically doing it, it was recorded and it's being done again because it had been done so many times, because this routine was involved for so long and got so much momentum, got this routine to keep this routine just going and going and going. That momentum is still going long after they're gone. And I think that doesn't apply everywhere in the world. I think that these sites where you actually see paranormal activity, you see doorknobs turning and stuff like that, there's other conditions as far as like energies that are around, frequencies that are around. There's all these things that, like, the environment has to be set in order for this energy to continue its momentum.
And that's so strange. Like, it's just fucking weird to think about. Um, but also, I had two other experiences in that house. Well, three other experiences in that house. When I told you, like, you could feel sometimes, like, it felt like the air was passing through you. One of the times when I was sitting on the couch, it felt like somebody sat on me. Like, not like the pressure of their body, but I felt like that cold draft. But I also felt like the couch cushion I was sitting on, like, sunk down a little more. And I was like, did
Mm-hmm.
somebody just
Mm-hmm.
sit in the fucking spot that I'm sitting in?
Mm-hmm.
And that fucking kind of gave me the willies. Um, One time I was walking through like one of the out of like the kitchen through their dining room area, and like the so like the light when I was walking by had my shadow casted on the wall, and it was like going with me, and then it turned around and went the other way. And
That's a cool one.
that scared the shit out of me. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I was a little drunk that night, so like I don't chalk that one up 100% because
Right,
I
right.
might have fucking hallucinated that
Respectfully.
one because I was already having the willies of having all these other experiences in the house now.
Mhm.
Um, Another time was sometimes in the dining room. This happened a few times. Sometimes in the dining room, you would hear like music playing, but like you couldn't. It was like if you lived in an apartment and your neighbors next door were playing music. You can't really hear what song it is. You can just hear that like people are talking and you can hear some music. And every so
Mhm.
often in the middle of the night, you could hear that coming out of the dining room.
Mhm.
And if you go there, there's nothing there. You know, like every time there's nothing there. But I was starting to like not like living in this house because all of these things were happening. I was feeling uncomfortable as fuck with this shit happening, man. And
Yeah.
that, and then, um, yeah, then there was like another thing. Like there was so with that security guard that died, Tammy would tell stories of like sometimes you would see like the guy like standing in the corner of the room, but it would just be like a tall shadowy figure like that would stand in the corner of the room and just kind of like chill there. And she was like, "Oh, it's probably that security guy that died." And
Mhm.
one time I had a girl over. This was before I met my wife, and she woke up in the middle of the night and like got freaked out because she seen something standing in the corner of the room, and like woke me up and like I don't know if you could see it, but like it was kind of an unexplained big ass shadow in the corner of the room. You know, it didn't look like some shadowy figure or nothing like that. But like when you hear them kind of stories and then you see something like that, like right, I can see that maybe this is an unnatural thing, but it wasn't like that shadow I seen when I was a kid, like where it was like it looked like a translucent figure. This was like
Mhm.
it looked like a shadow on the wall. You know, it didn't look
Yeah.
like a materialized form or nothing like that.
I've seen that in videos. I've seen people record ghosts just like that. Like they'll be recording a scene, and as they're recording, like you don't think anything of it while it's in the frame, but then all of a sudden that super dark corner all of a sudden becomes not as dark. Like something you see it like float out of there and shit like that, and it's just like
And
whoa.
being that that was my bedroom and I seen it at night many times, I know that that shadow wasn't from something that was
Right,
in the
right.
room normally.
Hmm. Hmm.
But I to say that it was like a tall figure or a person, I can't say that. It was a tall shadow, you know. So I
Yeah,
did see
yeah.
that. That freaked her out enough to freak me out, though.
Fuck, whether it takes human form or anything like that, if I see anything like a shadow in the corner that's not usually there, fuck, it's just as scary.
Yeah, yeah. So that place kind of fucking gave me the willies, and I was glad to leave when we finally did leave.
Hmm.
But having all that kind of shit happen, man, it made me. I've always been kind of a believer, but also a skeptic. That kind of took away a lot of skepticism from me. I'm still confused. I still have no idea what this stuff was, but I've seen enough to know irrefutably that something exists beyond what we know
Yeah.
for sure.
And it's just like our senses, like we got our sight, sound, smell, and all that shit. Like but when it comes to sound, we've touched on this subject before. That there's a whole range of sound that we as humans can't hear,
Right.
and it could just be as simple as that. Like there's people they speak of their third eye, people who call themselves mediums who say that like all um uh freaking ghost activity and stuff like that. Like they see all of it because they're open. They got they can speak to them, they can interact with them. That like unlike most people can do, and that it's just a genetic thing.
Sure. And I can totally believe that considering like
I
just as
believe
you
that
were
too.
saying with
Hmm.
sound, you know, there's so many weird things with sound. Like you can go as simple as a dog whistle, right? Like we can't hear it, but a dog can because it's at a
Hmm.
frequency that human ear can't pick up. But even like the human voice.
There's colors that we can't see, you know.
And
range
there's
of
colors. There's colors that some people can see that other ones can't. You know,
Mhm,
there's people that
mhm.
have different. But
There's
even
people with bad vision. There's people with good vision. You know,
even like
it's
people with
varying
voice.
degrees of all of it.
You know, you have people that can manipulate their voice into octaves that can shatter glass. Like we hear
Mhm.
jokes about, but that's real. That is totally real. There's people that can hit octaves high enough to shatter glass because
It's more of a physical attribute, I feel,
the
though.
vibe, right,
Because they
right.
can close their throat to that particular.
But there's a little bit of genetics behind that too, because there's no
100%.
there's some like practice. You can practice all day, and you could just never achieve
Never
something that
ever
some
be able
people
to do
can
it.
do.
Yeah.
Some people just naturally have a gift, and yeah, it's very, 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 very crazy. The fact that like you know when you hear about Beethoven, right? How he was deaf and he felt the vibrations and learned how to be one of the best pianists to exist, right? Right.
Yep.
But I mean, it's not an attribute that all deaf people have. You know, there's not all deaf people are virtuosos. You know, not all autistic people are savants. You know, not all. There's certain
Mhm.
people that like can literally turn disabilities into superpowers, and that's fucking
Oh,
amazing.
definitely. You know, like
It's
your brain
amazing.
is wired wrong, but it just so happens that that particular wiring makes you excel further than anybody else can in particular areas. Yeah.
And that's
But a
always
lot of the time, all those cross wires makes you useless. That kind of sucks for some people.
I think we've always kind of like I think we've always kind of entertained that because it kind of feels like it's the only superpower that's achievable, you know, between knowing about like savants, like obviously a savant is lacking in other areas, you
Oh yeah.
know, like they're lacking in other areas. They're not as well rounded.
Hardcore. There's a balance made.
But like, you know, even to the thinking back to like when we were kids and you've seen the movie, like remember Rookie of the Year when the kid fucking broke his arm and
Funky
instantly
butt
was able
loving.
to
Yeah.
fucking throw like the fastball.
I love that movie.
Right, there was always some sort of caveat when you got a superpower, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. Nature always makes a balance, bro. I preach that shit to people all the time. You dig a hole, yeah, you have a empty space, but then you got a big old pile of dirt over here. There's and that law applies to literally everything in life.
Yep.
Everything, money, your quality of life, you know, like if you're a negative ass person and all you do is hurt people and put negativity out there, that's all you're going to have coming your way and shit, you know, like there's life makes balance
money,
always.
money, and the biggest one, man. I've seen, you know, the simplest form is more money, more problems, right? But
Hmm. Firm
in
believer of that.
in the grand scheme of it, dude, people that I know that are wealthy, and I mean literally, uh, uh, I'm personally not wealthy. I've never been wealthy. I've always been. I mean, I was on food stamps growing up. I was on food stamps when I was fucking in my teens, early 20s and shit. Now I still live fucking check to check, bro. I don't have no bank account and no fucking. I don't have good credit, none of that shit. Like I'm not well off. You know, don't let the fucking fool you. You know what I'm saying? I got a fucking apartment. I'm renting a 1 bedroom fucking apartment with 3 people in it.
Mm.
Don't let fucking this cool background fool you. I am not fucking wealthy. You know what I'm saying? Uh, uh, but I've been around people that are. I've rubbed elbows with people that are. You know, my dad dated a chick that was wealthy once. Uh,
Hmm.
you know, my dad's adopted parents were wealthy until they died, and the kids fought over that shit, and then there nobody had shit. But my dad never got shit anyway because he was adopted, and fucking they treated the adopted kids like shit. And so like you know, my dad had a fucking house in the middle of shithole Joliet, burning fucking shit in the backyard. I was just saying, you know, and my dad was never well off either. So, um, I just don't want any false imagery behind that. But uh, uh, damn, where the fuck was I going with that? I lost it, bro.
Hey, it's all good.
whatever.
You know, like, you know, we're just like I brought up the whole thing of like how life this is constantly making a balance and stuff because that can be seen as a bit paranormal, karma, energy, and all that kind of stuff. You know,
Oh yeah.
like it's
Oh, and what I was saying is wealthy people um are usually much more depressed. And that's strange to me because I feel like money would solve all of my problems. When you're broke, money would solve all of my problems. Every fucking problem I have now is based on money, right? If I had more money, I wouldn't have this problem. I wouldn't have the stress. Fucking wrong, man. Like, that's what a real wealth to me is having enough money to put my bills on auto pay and not have to check my bank account and my calendar at the same time. You know what I'm saying? Like I could put my bills on auto pay. I could go to the store, I can make some purchases, but at the same time I still got to like be a little frugal, you know? That's wealth. I don't want to have infinite money. I definitely don't want to be rich. Being rich is fucking miserable, man, because when you're rich, one thing people don't understand is you lose everybody around you. And that's crazy. Like they always say
right.
it, they say it's lonely at the top, and there's a reason
Hmm.
for that. You can't kick it with the same people you used to. You cannot.
Yeah.
You cannot be a
And all the people who are drawn to you now, all the people who want to be your friends and stuff like that are so fake. You know, it all has to do with your money. It has
yep,
nothing to do with your personality.
yep. You don't have friends no more. Your money
Hmm.
attracts everybody. Your wealth
Hmm.
and your
And if you're
status, and
single and you're dating and stuff like that, that's going to be number one
no one
at the
loves
top
you
of the
for
list of
you.
priorities. The people who come to you, who date you and stuff. Yeah,
Yep.
that's what you know. Like
Even family treats you differently. Family looks at you like, you know, family before.
unless they're
Unless they're
rich too.
rich. That's why the only people you can hang out with is rich people. And rich
Hmm.
people are all fucking weirdos and they suck. And
Yeah,
and,
they
and
really
they
do.
corrupt you. And dude, it's not.
It looks like they're living the life. You know, you watch the Kardashians; they get to wake up every day drinking champagne and all that, and having all their drama and all that stuff. But like, you're watching from the outside. You don't feel that emptiness inside of them that they live with every day and shit like that. Like that's you're you know just you're all you're seeing is the outside. You don't see how hard like they suffer in
I
interior.
I got to watch it firsthand and it's very depressing. And then so I watched it firsthand with Tammy, when I talked about how she blew millions of dollars. This woman went from being a well, I mean, she always stayed a local celebrity, but literally went from upper echelon, the top of the top you could have been at in your town. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Literally,
Yeah,
you couldn't have been
right.
at a higher level. And they were the richest people in town,
But the
fucking wealthy, brand new.
trashiest.
Yeah, I mean, when I talk about brand new cars and shit, they had brand new fucking Hummers outside and shit. They were white trash people. This was like they were the Kid Rock of town. You know what I'm saying? They were fucking white trashy. And I guess that's cool, right? I never lived, white trash millionaire lifestyle. I always lived a very normal life until I fucking, turned into well, I mean, I always lived in a not normal life. I had a fucking awful broken home life, but it was normal to me. Um, but the wealthy part, it's just crazy to me. But yeah, literally watching the downfall of that. She went from having everything to having nothing.
Hmm.
Like I don't want to. I'm not talking down on my dad, but like my dad wasn't shit. He was broke. He was living off her money. If anything, not if anything, he totally was. He was living off her and
Hmm.
coasting off of her money. So it's not like he put anything. He didn't offer nothing to the table. You know what I'm saying? She wasn't like stepping up. She was stepping down. Fucking huge fucking step down, if anything.
Yeah.
And no, just watching the downfall of that, going from fucking rich to broke. She lived the highest of highs, and then when I was with her, she was at her lowest of lows. And then she fucking passed away and everything, and OD'd.
Beyond just the time that you knew her, beyond just the time that she knew Chuck, that she knew your dad, she was raised, rich.
Right.
She was always of that life of having money and stuff like that. So she was always living way up there. Yeah, she had her falls and stuff like that, but she stayed on top and all that shit. But to come down to normal people's level from all the way up there, that the contrast, man, like to understand how to live life as a broke person when you've been rich your entire fucking life, like holy shit, that's gotta be hard.
And
Hard.
I seen it with her, and so like I finally understood it a little bit. But then at my kid's birthday party, when I had my dad's friend there, because my dad, my dad passed away in 2021. But I had my dad's friend at a party, and when he said that about, now he didn't live with Tammy like that, so he didn't see that experience firsthand. That's just something I have in my head. But he was telling me that, like, because my dad, as I said, my dad's adopted parents were wealthy, and my dad grew up with that. I never knew that because when I was born, all that was over already.
Yeah.
And so, like, when I hear him talking about, like, that's kind of how my dad went senile and crazy too, was because he grew up with that. And then his whole life, he was chasing that again, trying to build that off his band, trying to build that off his studio. In his head, he thought one day he'll be there again. And, like, in his head, he never left that. He was always been there. But this is just like the whole time of my life, we were broke, never having shit because he's dumping every fucking bit of money he has into his own studio, into his own shit. Like we're over here eating fucking food from the government. Well, he's fucking blowing $1,000 because all of his income's going into his hobbies.
Yeah.
But it was crazy because I never, you don't objectively think about that as a kid. You're just experiencing it. But now as an adult, you can objectively think, and thinking back, and like, it's kind of mind blowing because as a kid, you never understood why my dad is so crazy, and like why he's going so crazy. And as he got older, it seemed like he was just delusional and crazy, and he was, but the delusion was based on his past. And so it's just very, very, it's very fucking strange how this world works, and it's very fucking strange how the human mind works. And it's very strange how our environments not only affect our mind, but it's also strange how we can possibly even leave residual energies that affect our environment, that affect our, it's just so much unexplained shit. And all of that unexplained shit is why we are the Wormhole Podcast. This is why we exist. Because I enjoy thinking about this weird stuff. If you want to go, everybody's brain functions on a normal level where we wake up every day and we're like, oh, gotta go take a shower, gotta go to work, gotta get ready, gotta pay the bills, right? Don't you want to think about something different? Don't you want to entertain something different? Like, shut that part of your brain off for a minute. Turn on this part of your brain. Let's have some fun. Let's ponder some shit.
You know what, man? Like, I never had kids, never got married, never had a house to fucking uphold and shit like that. So I don't understand the perspective of people who did do all that stuff, went to college, got a career, got married, had kids and stuff like that. They lived a completely different life. And now I see that, like, when I talk my crazy stuff, my conspiracies and all the stuff that I see and all that stuff and paranormal and stuff like that, I get the reaction from people like, whoa, like, how do you come up with that? Like, where do you get these theories and stuff like that? And to me, when I think about that question, it's like, to me, it's like, don't you, like, don't you ever like wonder and like think about things, like how things work and stuff like that? But what I don't consider is that these people have big responsibilities, and that probably consumes the greater amount of their brain time, self-reflection and all that stuff, just thinking about life and all that. Like, they think of they're too consumed with things that actually affect their life, the well-being of their children, their education and all that stuff. Their mind is consumed with their own life. They don't think about these kinds of things. They don't have a moment to think out the box.
I thought that originally, um, and I started having experiences like that with my wife, where I started to think like, wait, don't you think like that? And then, I started thinking more. And then I started realizing that there's so much things that we learn when we're younger, and so many words and phrases we learn when we're younger that we don't even really analyze. Like the term free thinker. Not everybody
Mhm.
is a free thinker. Do you know
Critical thinking and shit like that. The things that we were taught in school.
do you know what
Well,
free
quite
critical thinkers were known as back in the day?
Hmm.
Philosophers.
Philosophers, yeah, yeah, yeah.
People that
And to me,
philosophize.
like, I'm definitely a critical thinker, but it's hard to believe that not everybody's mind works like that.
It's crazy to think that a philosopher is literally just a critical thinker.
Hmm.
All
It's
of the
it's
known
nuts. It's
philosophers,
nuts.
all they did was they sat around and thought about stuff and
Wrote it
used a
down.
logical brain and was like,
Hmm.
but that doesn't make sense. This makes sense. And there's so many people, and it's crazy because genetically, these people still exist today. Not everybody is a critical free thinker. And that blows my fucking mind. I was like, so like it blows my mind as a free critical thinker because I feel like they're drones.
Yeah.
Like
Hmm.
so you're a drone? Like what does your inside voice tell you? Do you have an inside voice in your brain that's like constantly going? Or is this critical thinking and free thinking, or is this anxiety? Because fucking sometimes you feel like maybe a critical brain is just an anxious brain, and you can take a medicine and just turn all that volume down and just become a drone like everybody else. I don't know. That's what I kind of feel like sometimes too.
The the saying that I've heard throughout my whole life, ignorance is bliss, made no fucking sense to me. It's just like, what? Like,
Yep.
because you're dumb, you're happy. Like, that doesn't make any fucking sense. But as I've gotten older, it totally makes sense, because there's definitely been moments in my life like that I wish I was in the dark. I wish I had never thought about this, or become, or had this particular thing shed light on and got my attention. Like, I wish that I was so dumb that I didn't see these things, because it would make my life a lot easier. But that's I guess that's the cross to bear for anybody who's a critical thinker, and that may be why there's the other side of people who aren't critical thinkers, because as humans we always want to hit the easy button. Like, when it comes to physical, mental, any kind of task, we always just want easy. If we can have AI do it, have AI do it, instead of me and shit like that. Like, we always want to hit the easy button.
Oh yeah.
So wouldn't it be easier to just pick, I don't know, a media avenue, Fox News, CNN, and whatever they say, that's what's really happening. I don't have to put any thought into it, because they told me. Why am I going to think about it? I think it's just another form of hitting the easy button. And if we do that early in life and we never practice our own forms of critical thinking, we're just going to become adults who are inept at that ability. We won't be able to critically think.
I don't know.
It takes effort, and it's
It's hard.
painful sometimes.
It's hard to. It's hard to see. That's where my argument comes with. Like, obviously, there's people that are scared of technology, right? But when I think back to very, very beginning of humanity, right? What we used to call, yeah, I mean, what you can call being lazy, we called innovation. Every single thing we've done is to streamline a process. You know, you fucking you built a tool because you got tired of using your hands. You rode a horse because you got tired of walking. You built cars because we got tired of using horses. We fucking you yeah,
The balance,
yeah,
that
no, yeah,
same very
there's
same balance that I spoke
the
of. Yes, it
balance,
makes
the
our life easier. It makes us feel like we're excelling. But as human beings, our minds and our brains that we used to use to get to do
Yep.
these kinds of things, these hands that we used to do these kinds of things, are no longer developing.
no,
I feel
it's
like that's how evolution works. Like you pass on these abilities to the next people. Like if you decided to be an athlete your whole life, you worked hard, you were an athlete your whole life, and then had kids. It's in your genetics now that they're going to have that little bit of a push. They're going to be they're more set to be an athlete than to be
oh, you sure? Yeah, there's
something else.
it's irrefutable that with the advancement of technologies, human genetics are
We're
going to
going
dog shit.
back.
Yeah,
Yeah.
genetically
we're,
humans
we're
are
no
going to
longer
dog shit.
evolving.
If
The
we
balance.
this is not a political fucking statement or anything like that, but at the way we're going, like, I mean, we're all gonna be fucking muscleless, non-binary fucks in fucking 50 to 100 years anyway.
What was it,
So
Wally?
that
Wally that depicted the future and everybody's fat and in chairs. Nobody had to walk or anything like that.
yep, yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's crazy because like, you know, if you follow like Neuralink and shit like that, and the progress that Neuralink has made, um, Neuralink already works. The guy that had the installations, is fucking excelling hugely already. But dude can literally move his cursor with his mind on his computer. He activates things with his mind on his computer. This is fucking real shit we have today.
Right. And
And
as long as it's in practice that people are using it, it is constantly being studied and stuff like that, it's only going to
dude,
advance.
in
We
20
may only
years,
be moving a cursor on the screen right now, but eventually you're going to be able to like put your thoughts up on a screen, and
but there's
have everybody view them.
there's zero fucking latency. When you talk about streamlining a
Mm-hmm.
process, obviously I'm gonna hire the fucking chip guy. What the fuck? He can click it fucking 10 times faster than you can. He just thinks it and it's done. When he wants to write a sentence, he just fucking thinks it and it's on this page.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, what the fuck? Like,
And then that, like, what do we see that as? Oh, easy. It makes our life easier and all that stuff.
so hey, I want
But
a
then
chip
once it's
too.
actually implemented,
Yeah.
then we start the bitching. Oh, I didn't know that all my thoughts and everything that I was putting down was going to this big company and being recorded. Privacy. But you loved this technology at first. What did you think that they were going to do? All they're doing is analyzing data to make the system work better.
Now
Boom.
this may be a conspiracy, but all I can see is okay with the advancements to technology, the advancements of robotics. They're trying to replace most jobs with robotics, right? Now that's
Mm-hmm.
why they've talked about universal income. So obviously that's the caveat of losing your job to uh, uh, AI or to robotics. If your job becomes automated, you know, obviously they have to you you have to feed the people, right? You got to have people have income. But no, they've already talked about that. Like they've already pretty much there's other countries that already do it because they've innovated and they have less jobs. They just do a universal income. It's not the best solution, but obviously it's like you're not going to be fucking homeless wondering what's up because your job just got automated. You know what I mean? You'll be all right. You'll live. Um, but because you can't fight it. What are we gonna do? Pick it outside of these fucking robot companies and burn them down? What are you gonna do? You got to roll with the punches because we're in an ever evolving world and you have to evolve with it. That the fact that you can be as stubborn as old school as you want to, have your beliefs. Say fuck this. I don't like this. But if you're not doing anything about it, then you got to deal with it, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
If you're not doing anything about it, you got to deal with it.
What are you gonna do about it, though?
Exactly.
There's a whole
Exactly.
lot of that kind of stuff. That's why I
So
don't like to
that's why
talk about
I can
politics and
kick
stuff,
and
because
I can.
people,
Yeah. What are you gonna
you
do?
got your feelings, but what are you gonna do? You're over here getting upset, and that's really all it's accomplishing. It's not changing anything. All you're doing is getting emotional, letting it affect your life.
It sucks and it seems like a stupid view to have, but like even when there's a war in another country, and like some terrible fucking things are happening, I care. I empathize. There's fucking people's lives
Because that
being
could be
ended.
you.
That could
Yeah.
be me.
You know? Mhm.
But it does not affect the fact that I got to go to work tomorrow. I got to get
Right,
sleep
right.
today. I got to eat fucking dinner. I got to feed my
There is
kid.
no direct effect to our
There's no
lives.
direct effect to my life. So unfortunately, it's kind of like out of sight, out of mind. It's almost like it's not real. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Like
And it's the thing is it's so far
it only
away, and
exists on my TV. It
we've
only
all played
exists on my
telephone
phone
before,
screen.
like when one story goes to another person, then goes to another person, then goes to another person, that it's a completely different story after it's been through like three people. You know what I mean? Like, if you're gonna freaking go in the streets and protest about something that's happening in another country, bitch, you don't
Yeah, you
fucking
got your
know what's
priorities
really
fucked up.
fucking
Yeah.
happening there.
For
Like,
sure.
get out of it. You can go home, be upset, cry, and stuff like that, but
Yeah.
don't get involved. Don't get socially involved or
Yeah.
anything like that, because
Hey, go
you
hit the
don't
gym or
belong
something.
here. You don't belong here. Go away. Your feelings don't belong here. If you want to get them involved, keep it to yourself.
Yeah, it's weird. I feel like sometimes that's some people's hobbies is just to be an activist. And that's cool, like that's what they do and they enjoy that for
Human
their
nature, is constantly looking for something to bitch about.
Yeah, that's
Don't
true.
we see that person all the fucking time?
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's the only thing. The only reason that I'm not as negative as I want to be is just because I don't like being around negative people, and I know that I don't want to be that person.
Yeah,
You know
yeah.
what I
And there are
mean?
those people, there's people who live off of that energy, who need drama in their
Oh
life and stuff
yeah.
like that. And if all this, they may even freaking say, I hate this life. I hate being around all you toxic people, da da da, and all that shit. But once you take them out of that environment and put them in the contrasting environment, they don't know what the fuck to do with themselves. It's so quiet. And then they end up being the ones creating all the drama and shit in this
Sure.
once peaceful environment.
Sure, because like I'll see the people that like I have zero drama in my life now. Unfortunately, everybody that, and I do say unfortunately because obviously I miss the people that are gone in my life. The biggest sources of drama in my life have all either fizzled out or passed away. Um, it's cool for me because my life's pretty drama free, but it's kind of boring sometimes. Like for sure it's boring. I enjoy the boredom because I'd rather deal with boredom than stress. and, and
Everybody's different.
and but there's some people like I hear people at work. Oh man, when I hear people at work, they're just gossiping and they just feed off the stress, and you're hearing them every day on break fighting with somebody on the phone and arguing, and I'm just like, can you imagine? That's my fucking every day I wake up in that environment. Man, that's fucking crazy, bruh. And like, or just like for instance at the gathering, like, I mean, I feel like I'm not the most functional fucking person as far as like my life and the way I have set up and like my relationships with people and my relationship with my wife. I have a great relationship with my wife. But I mean, are we the most functional couple? Like the best like representation, the cookie cutter representation of like husband and wife? Absolutely not. We're our own individuals. We have our own relationship and the way we interact with each other. Um, we're happy as fuck, but we're different, and I feel like everybody's a little different. But people are fucking very 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 strange, man. And yeah, man. Maybe it's time for a little bit of
Area 420.
Yeah. Got my rig little preheated first. Dude, I burned through my bud so quick.
It's all gone already. Yeah, I burned through it pretty fast. I don't smoke joints though, so like when I would smoke joints, I smoke my weed way faster. But I mean, I smoke bongs, and the bong I have has a pretty big fucking bowl piece, so I still burn through shit pretty quick. But
Yeah, making those cookies was a big mistake.
let me tell
I'm
you.
I'm sitting on like freaking like 20 something of them still, and they're stale by now. They're fucking done for.
So
It's all going in the trash.
let me tell you about. Don't throw them away, or are they been sitting out on the counter?
They've been in a plastic bag. They've been out, but you know
Oh,
they're
I
sealed and
put my
shit. They're
bag
just
in the
stale.
fridge. So it,
Oh,
like
I could have did that. I should have fucking put my shit in the fridge. They're stale now.
I
Fucked.
um the medicine I told you like kind of slows down my digestion a little bit. So
Mm.
um when you were like take half, I was like, oh well, if my digestion slowed down, I'm just gonna take a whole one and I'm just gonna eat a whole cookie. And I was already high a little bit when I ate the cookie. And then I was like, yo, that cookie was good as a motherfucker, bro. I ate it and I was like, that shit tasted good. And
Mm. From scratch, man.
and I
Freaking
told you I
sugar
was having a
cookies
lot
from
of
scratch.
ever since losing weight and shit. Like I've had a little bit. I lost a lot of weight pretty quick, so I lost a little bit of muscle. So I noticed like that's why my fucking muscles hurt a little bit more when I was working out.
Mm.
So like when my hip was killing me, I was like, all right, well since I'm eating one cookie and it was so good, I was like, what's the worst that can happen? I get really fucking high. So I ate two cookies
Oh my god.
and I went to sleep because I was like, I'm just gonna go get a good fucking night's sleep, right? Bro, I was
Yeah.
high for 2 fucking days. I
Yeah.
woke
Yeah.
up high the next day. I
And
was high
cookies,
the
man. I
whole
know.
motherfucking day. I was like I was sluggish and high the whole day, and I woke up the next day and I was still fucking high. I was like, bro, this has been 2 days I've been high for.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was like, I've never been high for so
Yeah.
long.
Give me a second.
Yes, sir.
Can I borrow your for the car?
Yeah. You got to use the key to get into my door. The fob doesn't communicate with the car. But yeah, it's in the passenger seat. You're welcome. But yeah, man, like I had the very same experience, dude. I ate my cookie maybe like halfway through the day. It was only half of a cookie too.
Yeah.
Only ate half. And fucking, high as hell all day, went to sleep, woke up and I was like, am I higher? Like I felt like I was higher than I was the previous day. And it was like halfway through the day I took that shit. It should have peaked, that day. But
Yeah.
no, man, that shit, it just kept going up and up. And yeah, I was like high the fucking entire day and shit like that. But, like I said about balances and shit like that, man, it's like I had to maintain that high, for a few days, and then I had to wean myself off of it because like the next day all I was doing was like fucking smoking and shit. And like I felt like that, like that gross kind of like what do you call that? Withdrawal kind of feel. Like
Oh,
I get
yeah.
withdrawals from weed. I really fucking
Yeah,
do.
me
Always
too.
have. I get
Yeah,
withdrawals
me too.
from weed. So, I'm depressed a little bit and feel icky. So I had to like keep eating edibles and shit like that. And then, consciously freaking taper it down to normal to fucking not have to have a horrible day of feeling like shit and all depressed.
Yeah, I get real agitated and shit.
Yeah,
When I
I'm
don't
really,
smoke, I get very fucking ornery and pissy.
I get depressed, man. I start to feel like I got like a void in my chest.
I get that. I get depressed a lot anyway though because I definitely have bipolar. Because I'll have fucking crazy manic stages, and usually with my hobbies and shit, I'll get super manic about it for and I fucking spend crazy, and then I fucking reap the fucking repercussions of it afterwards, and then I fucking have my lows, and then I fucking don't want to talk to nobody for fucking 2 months, and yeah, I fucking hate that shit. But
Yeah. I've detoxed maybe twice in my life from weed, like going from being a everyday smoker to just having to stop for like a drug test or some shit like that. And I go through it, man. Like after like 2 days, I feel fucking great. I got tons of energy and shit like that, but I'm still dealing with like fucking like nightmares
yeah,
and night sweats, man. I would like 3 times in the night for like 2-3 weeks after I freaking stopped smoking weed. Like I'll wake up 2-3 times just completely soak in sweat, man. It's fucking crazy, and it has to be the detoxing, man. It has to be, because it's the only time in my life this shit ever happens is when I stop smoking weed.
Yeah, so when I stopped smoking weed, I've done it many times because, especially being in and out of jail when I was younger, I would constantly go from fucking smoking all day every day to fucking not smoking at all for 6 months, you know, or fucking not smoking at all for a year. 6 months here, a year there, 90 days here, fucking 4 months there. I would quit all the time, technically.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
I can tell you how it affects my body differently. Depression wise, I still get depressed. The big sad still comes. It's just there's nothing that'll fucking fix it, because I don't take medicine for it or nothing like that. I refuse to take psych meds.
yeah.
I'll fucking coast this out for the rest of my life. As long as it's not affecting and hurting the people around me, then I will learn to manage it and fix it myself. You know what I mean?
Yep, we've seen too many people turn into cuckoos on that shit.
So I'm gonna fucking handle that myself. But the mental clarity, for sure. I feel sharper when I'm sober, like sober. Like I can think better, but I'm not as free of a thinker, if that makes sense.
You're not as creative.
I'm not as
That's,
creative. It does take away my creativity because, like, if I can fucking, sometimes I can get high and I can fucking write music and shit like that for fucking hours, dude. And I still wrote music when I was sober, but I just didn't have as much of a muse. Like when I'm high, I can really fucking ride it and get into like my flow state better. But so mental clarity, yes. The dreams, I dream like THC is actually known. The chemical is to like it can counter REM sleep. So like
yeah,
too
yeah,
high
yeah,
levels
yeah.
of
I've
THC
heard
can
that.
counter REM sleep, and you won't have as vivid of dreams. And so I can tell you,
Or as good of sleep.
yeah, that's true. That's true. And it's fucked up because we smoke weed to sleep.
Yeah,
You know,
a lot of
because
people do that.
that
Not a good
sluggishness
idea.
kills the anxiety of the day, and shuts the noise down a little. It turns that buzz down to a manageable level.
But it prevents you from getting deep sleep.
So like my sleep was always way better. My dreams were fucking vivid. I never, anytime when you're in
Yeah,
jail,
same here. Same here.
in jail, it's the best sleep of your life. You're in the most fucking craziest environments, but you don't wake up tired the next day. You wake up fully fucking rested. I had fucking crazy vivid dreams, whether they're good dreams or not. Sometimes they're the most awful dreams, but they're fucking vivid. And,
Yep. Yep.
and they,
Same here.
that was definitely the difference. But none of those things are enough to make me want to like need to stop now. Like I don't have any desire to quit because I don't need to. You know.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want a career where I'd have to quit it for, because it's like, then I don't want anything in my life that I have to put stipulations on. You know what I mean? I don't want I can only do this if I do that. I don't want that in my life. I just want to be able to do this or do that or do this. Like what, let's fucking enjoy it. Why have any kind of caveats to the next move forward?
Yeah.
I don't know. That's why. Oh, speaking of, I didn't tell you the big news, man. I'm fucking back in university now, full university again. I'm fucking
Attending classes and shit.
yes, sir.
Oh shit! Good for you, man.
I just entered a bachelor's program for digital media design.
Oh shit!
So yeah, very, very, very fucking excited about that.
Tight.
Got my. So I'm working on getting like all of my financial stuff ironed out. So with my work stipend plus, I got the Pell Grant, and then probably gonna take out a student loan also. Just because I want the student loan to fully cover everything, and I want to get a little bit of that grant and fucking work stipend kicked back to me. So, yeah, man. But my official class start date is February 2nd. Very excited. Very excited. So we're gonna be taking the wormhole to the next motherfucking level, boy.
Yeah, for real.
Hey,
Professional.
and the dope thing about, because I'm getting into digital media, I do believe I'll probably be able to get a pretty good fucking brand new MacBook about the school.
Yeah, right.
Get a nice new
You
MacBook
should
out
get a
of
good
school.
discount at least.
Yeah. Because so like Apple has uh the program for students, so like you can get like a discount just through the Apple Store for being the student.
Mhm.
But most universities have. I haven't talked to my university about that yet. I haven't finished speaking with. I haven't finished all of the shit yet, but I'm fully accepted and all that stuff's
Yeah.
going on, and like everything's, all the wheels are turning, the gears are going. So we're getting through all these processes. I had to order like my transcripts and get them sent to the school and all that shit. But yeah, I'm fucking geeked, man. If I get that fucking MacBook, then we can jump on some garage band shit. It'll be easier to send stems to each other. But I got the
Yeah.
fucking Fruity Loops going over here on PC currently, so I'll still be able to fucking work with shit. But it'll be much, much easier if I'm able to have the exact same programs.
Right. Hey, we can like toss projects back and forth and shit too
Yep.
through that. You can do that through Adobe as well, like video editing and shit.
You got Adobe currently?
Yeah, I do.
I think I might.
I canceled it for a while, and I got it back.
I think I
And
might get it back because I want to do a little bit more on the video editing and the clip program that I've been using. I only use it because I don't have a paid uh, editing program. Either
yeah,
the only one I'll
it
use.
does a good job. I like the product that it comes out with.
I
But
do,
yeah,
but
like
I like
it's
it to where
there are no good editing softwares like if you're gonna actually hands-on edit shit other than the ones that you pay for. Except for no, there's DaVinci. DaVinci's free and it is top of the line.
I use Microsoft's editor currently, like the Slinky one
Yeah,
I made,
that's
the Clip Champ one. Is
once you start using a higher tier one,
the
that
graphics and
shit
the overlays of it
baby
they
shit.
suck. Yeah, it's like a fucking phone app.
It's like little kids. It's like something you give to a preschooler compared to like fucking Premiere and shit. No, but there is a free one, man. It's called it's by Black something Studios. I forget, but it's there have been like high end feature films and shit that have been produced on
Well, I'm gonna
DaVinci.
I'm gonna pause on any purchasing of any of this editing software because of the fact that I'm literally entering a fucking uh, bachelor's program for digital media. So I'm almost
Yeah, you
100%
probably
I'll be getting all of these subscriptions for free, if not at a discount,
mm-hmm.
because of school,
Yeah,
or have like some like school. I don't know how.
access to the
Maybe they'll
soups.
give me a
Yep,
school licensing for access.
that would be fucking sweet. Even though it's temporary, but still.
Yeah, well, it's at least 4 years. I'll
All your
have.
projects and shit though.
Oh
Once
yeah,
you're
yeah.
it's all gone.
But once I'm pretty sure I'll have access to the software for at least the next 4 years,
Yeah, that's tight.
and I can share my fucking student shit with you. I'll let you use my fucking.
Yeah,
I get some student discounts on shit.
that'd be fucking sweet, man. I've been paying for Premiere for years, and now that I'm unemployed, I just decided, I was gonna cut it out. But then when I had to do all that VHS shit, putting the VHS to digital, I was like, fuck. And I had to get it again, but I got like the pay by month plan,
Yeah.
which is more expensive than the pay by year plan, which I used to have. And yeah, I did the month and then I went to cancel it and they're like, wait, don't go, like we'll give you a month for free to try it out again. I'm like, okay, fine. But at the end of that month, that's it. I did the same thing before when I was doing the pay by year. When I went to cancel it, they're all like, wait, no, like we'll give you a month for free. It's like, oh, all right. But yeah, then when I went to cancel after that, they're like, okay, bye-bye.
Yeah, you're trying to see if they'll fucking throw you another little promo.
I thought they might. I wasn't trying to see if they would. I was done with it. I didn't want to pay it because I'm unemployed, like I shouldn't. I got to get rid of all the little things that aren't completely necessary.
Yeah, I hear that. I fucking hear that, man.
But yeah, it was completely necessary to digitize all that VHS shit.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I went through a lot of that footage. It's pretty fucking cool.
Did you? Good. Yeah. And you can keep it plugged into your TV and shit too. So it's like always just there if you wanted to flip it on.
Yeah, I had it. I had it in my computer.
Oh, okay.
Dude,
Yeah.
I when I say I built this command center, bro, like I have it to where it's like my PC is connected not only to my monitors, but it's also connected to my bedroom TV. So like I can just
Hmm.
send shit right to my bedroom TV. I got
Yeah.
my kids' TV that I'm gonna be having connected to the PC because I want it to mirror one of my other screens. So like if we're both playing Roblox together, we can both see the screen, but separately. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like,
Hmm.
yeah, I'm fucking trying to get this shit all cool, man. But eventually, I mean, as this, my overtime's over now. It just ended, so like I'm finally able to like get back into the regular routine of things. So like, yeah, I plan on fucking hitting the streaming hard. I'm gonna start streaming gaming and shit. Anytime I play video games, I'm just gonna toss it on stream. May as well,
Might
you
as
know.
well. Hmm.
May as well. Fucking everything's content, right?
Yep. Yep. Literally everything, man. Everything.
I could.
I'm what
I got the
I
cameras up for the
I've
pod. I could fuck the old lady right here if I wanted to. And throw that on. You
it's a
know.
different platform, but yeah, man.
Hey,
Honestly, man, I've
everything's
seen
content.
there are some weak ass freaking personalities out there. Weak as hell. They ain't got nothing fucking interesting to say at all. But they share every little thought that they have on the internet. And they've been doing it for years. And they got freaking millions of followers and shit like that. But they are the most dull, like uninteresting fucking people ever. But it's just because, these people subscribe to them because they always know there's going to be something new to watch. I can
Yep.
peer into somebody else's life that's not mine. That's interesting enough. People are fucking silly as hell. But yeah, there's a lot of people making money off of being a personality that have no personality.
And
Fucking insane. Just put it out there. Put it all out there because it's good. It'll stick.
and well and
It'll
funny
stick somewhere.
and funny enough, because content wise, I know maybe we're not down talking on any content creators or nothing like that because even right now we don't have the best of content. But
No, no,
to
no.
give full transparency to the listener, when we recently just started this podcast back up, we have to let you know it was in the middle of November, and so we're in the middle of winter in the Midwest. Our winter started very early here. So we've been in snow and cold this whole time. You haven't got to see any of our good video blogging or any
Oh
of the things
yeah,
that
I
we
can't
have
wait to
planned for
start
the
doing
nice weather. We have
live
so much
streams
more
out
in
there. Yeah.
store than just us pandering to each other through video chat. We have so much more to offer that we're going to be having so much more content rolling out throughout as the year progresses and as the weather gets nice and we get out of our caves. We have
The annual funk, man. I'm telling y'all, like for anybody who doesn't have to deal with cold weather in the winter and snow and shit like that, y'all really are fortunate. It is pretty sometimes, but everything else about it is fucking horrible. And it comes around every year. You can bet on it. It's a given. And it brings with it depression. It brings with it accidents and freaking all kinds of shit that happens out there that
sure.
people forget how to fucking drive and start creaming into each other. It's the winter's an ugly fucking time in a lot of ways. And yeah, like for me, like I'm a little guy, and I think that that's why the winter gets to me more than the average person. Because there's people who are like, "Oh, haven't you been in Chicago land your whole life? Like, aren't you used to it yet?" It's like, fuck no.
Oh,
Every year, that shit gets worse. The freaking depression that comes with it gets deeper and darker. There's no getting used to it. It's just it fucking sucks.
oh, dude, I can tell you, I'm 70 pounds lighter than I was last winter. The moment it got cold, I was like, "What the fuck?" I am so cold. I'm colder than my wife. My wife's like, "Oh, I've never been cold. I've been a polar bear the whole time we've been together." Like, and
There's
I
so
am.
many obvious things in life that people just don't acknowledge. So every listener, please take this with you. You must know this. This is a thing. There is nothing in this world, not a damn thing, not Dow from the most fucking condensed freaking duck or anything. Like the one thing that insulates the best out of fucking anything is fat.
Yep.
Okay, especially when that fat has veins of warm blood running through it. Okay, so if you see somebody small bitching about how cold it is, but you're comfortable, you don't understand. Like, you got on a whole ass winter fucking coat that they don't fucking have.
Yeah.
You know, made of the best. The world's best.
The world's
fucking
best
material,
winter
the
coat.
world's best. You know, like, you can pay $1 million for a coat that ain't gonna do as well as what your ass carries around every day. Like, that shit is so fucking for real.
Yeah. You don't see skinny motherfuckers running around in shorts in the wintertime.
You don't see skinny little
it's
lanky
only-
motherfuckers
it's-
doing that polar bear challenge, fucking going
No.
out there every
No,
year
but
jumping
hey,
into
but
Lake
that's
Michigan and shit like
facts.
that.
It's only big guys that you'll see running into the grocery store in shorts and basketball shorts still in the wintertime.
Yeah.
The skinny motherfuckers all bundled up.
And you'll see people who aren't necessarily fat that are comfortable in the winter, but that's just because your fat's dense, motherfucker. Like, you ain't got that globular fat that a lot of people had. That's got, you know, airy and got a lot of water in it and shit. You know, you got fat. You got that good insulating coat. It's just nice and dense. Me, man, I'm like 0 point something percent body fat. and you know, that has nothing to do with any efforts on my behalf or anything like that. It has nothing to do with lack of eating or anything like that. It is 100% genetic and due to a surgery that I had as an infant. You know, I cannot absorb fat. You know, I can eat a tub of lard every fucking day and my body will not absorb fucking any of it.
Have you ever tried Bofa?
Putting it up my butt?
No, I said, have you ever tried Bofa?
I don't know what that is.
Bofa? Bofa these nuts on your chin.
Bofa these nuts. Oh my god. You even had me sticking out the chin and everything, man. It is a fucking good one.
Yeah, I told my wife that I'd have to get you one with that one today.
Bofa. I use the fitness one all the time.
Oh yeah, fitness. You into fitness?
Stick in your ass. You into fitness?
Yeah, you know the difference between jam and jelly?
What?
I can't jelly my dick in your ass. That was a good prison joke of ours. Hey, you know the difference between jam and jelly?
But yeah, like I was saying, like, I can't absorb fat, but it's not just fat. You know, there's a lot of nutrients and shit that I don't get as much of from food as the normal person is because my body doesn't fucking absorb it. So it's a double-edged sword for sure. I'm not fortunate because I can't put on weight. You know, with all the people who wish they were 10 pounds lighter, 40 pounds lighter, or whatever, I wish I was heavier. I would so welcomely take fucking 20, 30 pounds from somebody.
Yeah.
Very willingly, you know, like, it's a whole different struggle to try to put on weight when you got issues, you know, when it's the other way around.
Sure.
If anything, like, I look at it as like, to gain weight is going to cost way more money than it does to lose weight.
Oh yeah.
Because to lose weight, you eat less and you exercise. Exercise is fucking free depending on the way that you do it. You can get a gym membership and all that, and that costs money. But honestly, you can just go out and run. That costs absolutely fucking nothing, you know?
Dude, like, I follow some bodybuilders, and my favorite bodybuilder is Jay Cutler. And Jay Cutler is fucking in his 50s. Dude's still fucking massive. Of course they took steroids and all that shit. You have to be able to put that kind of mass on. But people are dumb. Steroids are nothing like a GLP. You know, a GLP-1, like that works just by taking the injection. Steroids is not just you can take the injection and you get big. You gotta fucking put the work in too. So it's not like these dudes are just taking
Oh yeah,
shots.
yeah.
These dudes are out, like they're working.
But they're building that bulk so much quicker than if they weren't using the drugs. That's the
but some of that
steroids.
the size. The thing is that size is impossible to build naturally.
True.
There's only a certain level that your body can do naturally without the help. So
just because your body can't do it naturally doesn't make it okay for you to do to get it another way, you know.
Right, but if you're trying to compete on that level, you have to.
Because everybody you're competing with fucking does the same shit.
That's why there's natural competitions and then Mr. Olympias and shit. You know?
Yeah, I watched the whole documentary on that shit. Yeah.
No, I don't. I mean, if somebody wants to take fucking steroids and shit, let them. You know, who gives a fuck, right? They're all just chasing glamour.
Yeah.
I don't think steroids are comparable to like fake tits or something like that, because you don't need to put no work into that. You just paid for it. You know, it's just like a chemical enhancement to your body, I guess. You know, it's cool, whatever. If that's what you want to do, everybody knows the downsides of that, regardless of the fact. The dude was saying, and not only are the steroids, but also it's the diet. When you're trying to put on that size and those bulks, those dudes had to eat, or you're going to lose muscle. You're going to start losing muscle naturally, instantly, because your body's like, it doesn't need that much frame. It doesn't need that much muscle. It doesn't need it. So you need to constantly keep feeding it. So like these dudes are eating 10,000 calories a day of clean.
A lot of money.
Dude, Jay Cutler said when he was in his Mr. Olympia competitions, he was spending upwards of over $50,000 just on groceries. Over $50,000 a year just on groceries. And he's buying the cheapest of groceries. White rice, oats, chicken, beef. You know, like he's buying half a cow at a time to make it as cheap as you can get it.
And that's the gain weight. You know, these people are in a whole different position than I am. You know, like they are burning that fat so fucking quick, you know, because all they do is fucking exercise. All they do is go hard and sweat their asses off. And
so they need to feed on top of that. You know, they're trying to put more.
If they stopped all of a sudden exercising and they kept taking in this food, they're just going to become a giant fat son of a bitch. You know?
Right. Absolutely.
But yeah, different struggle. But yeah, the same thing. You know, it costs a lot of fucking money to bulk up, to put it on, to take it off. Yeah, you can spend money to make it easier to take it off and all that stuff, but working out is going to work 100% of the fucking time. Sure. You know, if you can work out, you're gonna lose weight, and working out costs absolutely fucking nothing.
Yep. Well, exercise plus calorie deficit. You have to be in a calorie deficit. You have to be burning fat. You know, because if you're constantly eating. You're going to be eating. First thing you burn is the calories you consume. Then you burn your fat storage.
Yeah, your fat is just energy storage.
So you have to work out.
You have to go through your reserves first, and then you start eating away at the fat, which is your energy reserves. Right? You got to put in the work. I've seen a lot of people lose weight, you know, with like the keto diet and stuff like that without working out at all. You know, they've lost weight, but they don't look healthy. You know, their bodies don't look good. All that excess skin and all that stuff, like that's only avoidable to a degree. You know, if you're working out, you're going to have your best chances of not being all globby and having extra skin. It's called toning. You know, like if you got that loose underarm and shit like that, you know, you need to do more of these bitches. You need to exercise that arm out more, and eventually you're not going to have that globbiness and shit like that. It's called toning your body. You know, you can lose weight by just diet, no exercise, but it ain't going to look good, and you ain't going to feel good.
Yeah, you gotta have resistance training. You gotta strengthen your body up. You know, you got to keep your frame looking nice. You know what I mean? Because otherwise you just look odd-bodied, and not only are you losing weight, but you're also losing muscle, because muscle burns also. That is also part of your reserve. Your body doesn't differentiate between the fat and the muscle. You have to use strength training to keep your muscle, and you have to keep your protein up. If you're losing weight, you got to at least eat your body weight worth of protein every day. Every day.
Yeah.
So you got to keep fueling the muscles and using the muscles to keep the muscle. And if you want to build, you have to work and feed it even that much more, because you still have to do feeding it and working it to maintain it, or you're going to lose it. You're going to lose it.
When I was working out, you know, like I pretty much decided to do that just because I wasn't happy with, you know, being a fucking string bean, having a skinny fucking body and looking like a drug addict and all that shit. You know, I was straight up mistaken as a drug addict a few times. Like, motherfuckers, like, I'm just skinny. I don't deserve this shit. And
hey man, you got some crack?
yeah, I told motherfucker no, and he said, you're lying. I was like, what the fuck? Like, it's like undeniable. Like, people look at me, they think drug addict. Like, fuck. I've even had people that I've gotten to know who told me that, like, when they first met me, they thought that I was a drug addict and shit like that. Like, that fucking sucks. So, like, I had to put on bulk. I can't put on fat. I did the freaking buying the bulk shit for exercising and all that shit, the top fucking mass building shit. And it does nothing for me. It does absolutely fucking nothing for me. Eating peanut butter and shit like that like crazy does fucking nothing for me. And so I had to put on muscle. I felt like that's the only way that I'm gonna put some bulk on this body is if I make muscle. And I noticed while I was doing that, like my face was starting to fucking like sink in and shit like that. Like, yeah, I'm losing fat and I'm gaining muscle. Like my arms look, you know, I'm looking swollen and shit like that. But there's areas of my body where I look like a fucking skeleton. You know, it's like not appealing at all. So on the back end, you know, like I'm trying to eat more and all that shit. I'm working out all the time. But the fat department is not a fucking thing that I can do about it. Not a fucking thing I could do. It maybe if I had surgery or something, whatever the hell was done down there, maybe was botched a little bit. Some of it can be reversed, who knows? But
they took too much off the top when they circumcised him.
it kind of like, I'm sure that the procedure was a lot like a circumcision, dude. They freaking took a section of my my intestines right underneath my stomach. So yeah, I mean that's what I chalk it up to, because my inability to put on fat is superhuman.
Well,
I've not met a single other human being who's had this problem. Anybody with the same body as me that I've met doesn't fucking eat, does drugs, is fucking neglects the shit out of themselves. You know, like it smokes cigarettes like crazy and fucking doesn't eat right and shit like that. You know, like I'm the only person who treats themselves well, who has a normal fucking human diet and shit, is just skinny as a fucking rail, man.
Hey, but you put on some muscle good enough. I remember fucking 2023 when you were fucking Bowflexing all the time. You were pretty fucking ripped up.
Yep, and it did not take much fucking effort at all. I wasn't doing that shit every day or nothing. There was no routine to it. It was just, hey, you know, I'm bored.
The only day you stuck to was Wiener Day.
Wiener Day for sure. Can't miss Wiener Day. Because that's a muscle, you know, that completely stops working at some point in your life.
Every day is Wiener Day. All right, homie. Well, we got to wrap it up. As always, all y'all, check us out on all our socials at the Wormhole Podcast. Hit that like, hit that subscribe. If you got any paranormal or extraterrestrial stories, experiences, videos, any of that bullshit you want to share, or if you want to just fucking shout yourself out, shoot us a message. And until next time, stay safe out there. Keep your eyes to the skies. Wormhole Podcast out, y'all.
Peace out, y'all.
Peace.